All right. Tracks in chapters 34 to 40 of The Blade itself. So, yes, Gloktar continues trying to expose Bayan as a fraud. They actually pull them up in front of the celebratory dinner for Luther Giselle, who gets magically assisted by Bayan to actually win his duel, even though Gloktar immediately goes, he's cheating. And he actually identifies Bayan as the one who somehow helped him. And it's like, what the hell happened? But it was a cheat. So Gloktar is the one, he notices things. But yeah, they try and humiliate him at a dinner. That doesn't work. And then it's like, yes, but I do have a key, and let's go to the go to the Tower of the Maker. And they go to the Tower of the Maker, and Abercrombie does a really good job of showing spooky magic physics, of spooky geography. It really gives you a sense of just like this bizarre, non-Euclidean space building, and how deeply unsettling it is for all concerned, except for Bayan himself, apparently. They get from it a box that doesn't have anything in it, but is designed to carry the seed, whatever the seed is, because the seed is something that's just unimaginably powerful, and this is to protect everything else from it. And there's just like, and Gloktar is just like, what the fuck is all this stuff? And Bayan at the end is like, well, that was a very interesting trip. You better come up with something more plausible to tell your superior, which is so true. Pharaoh and Wayun arrive at the city, and Pharaoh is a feral creature who punches Bayan when he dares to test her, and she can't tell colors. And he apologizes to her, and he's like, suddenly he doesn't look like a slaver to her anymore, because he was looking like a slaver to her. Now it's like, okay, but I'm not ready to trust you. But he does offer her what she wants, which is revenge against the emperor, the Urish emperor. What is it? Who basically, they conquered her people, enslaved them all, took her back, and she was a slave of the prince, who is now the emperor. And he says, like, well, I can offer you revenge, but realize that emperor is just a tool that is being used by the big bad that is behind them all, is controlling these eaters, which apparently there's like hundreds of, which is bad news. And for what they have on their side, they've got like Quirrell, the one kind of hopeless apprentice. And it's like, well, yeah, if we had 20 or 30 more of them, and 20 or 100 more of them, and 20 years to train them properly, we'd be okay. We need to get going really quickly, because the Emperor Empire is going to invade the Union. They have a giant army now. They have a giant navy now, so they'll be able to take charge of the navy as well. So it's not looking good. And we also know that the northern men are coming down. And so they are going to travel, apparently, to the edge of the known world. We'll see how that goes. I really hope that Gloktar doesn't just get eaten up by an eater or something like that. I hold out hope he's going to actually be, if not a good guy, a very gray bad guy, because he's smart and he's intelligent. I don't want him to get consumed up or anything like that, because a lot of other writers would just use him as the bad guy, but he's so intelligent. I really enjoy him, Gloktar. We also have in this section West, who has a horrible temper, And there's been the whole thing of like, Arid, his sister, is having an affair with Luthor. And it's like Wes, that really drives Wes crazy. And you think he's going to go after Luthor, Giselle, but actually he turns and he actually beats the shit out of his sister. And at which point we're revealed that, yeah, you beat me just like our father did. You got away. I had to stay, and the beatings got worse. So there's this whole thing of abuse, and you start thinking about the people in this world, and there's a lot of kind of people with damage in the world. Pharaoh, slave, very angry, traumatized obviously by that, and just basically the destruction of her whole society. You've got Gloktar, whose body has been completely shattered by the same emperor, the empire. You've got Logan Ninefingers, who's definitely ton of years, ton of miles on his soul, who's done horrible things and just struggling that way. Giselle is, interestingly enough, like, yeah, he's the guy who's like hasn't really had much happen to him, and as a result he's like the most kind of cowardly, least tested, least guy. Don't know about Bayan. Bayan, I mean, is so powerful, but I mean, he's seems to be functionally semi-immortal. He predates the civilization, the Union as a country, and has been multiple people throughout history, apparently, because when they challenge him at the thing, it's like, oh, I've come back. I came back as this guy. I came back as that guy, who were other kind of respected, great advisors to the Union. So he's been around. It's like you wonder if these guys are like kind of like Gandalf and his, like, the angels in a way. They're super long lived. Now they seem to see Pharaoh as something as slightly more than human. Like, she got hurt badly apparently by the eaters, but recovered within 2 days, and is super lightning fast. And it's like she seems to be somewhat above human. Like, I don't think Logan would actually do well against her. Logan has a great conversation with West where he basically reveals himself to be like a great general. Like, he quickly, carefully takes apart and describes the Northern King in great kind of expert detail. Like, it's like you're listening to some kind of veteran 4-star general who's breaking down like all their tactics and everything like that. It's like, oh, it's really impressive that way. It's not just a pretty face, which is that definitely not. So yeah, a lot of richness, lots of really interesting, good stuff happening here in the Blade itself. All right, more talk later. Probably one last section, I'd say.